All right. Well, Jake, kind of middle of the week here with UCLA coming up. What have you seen? I know you're kind of big on their defense, which is kind of the strength of their team.
Yeah.
What more have you got to notice about them on film as you keep watching them?
I just think their schemes are very challenging, even down to special teams, offense, defense. I think they're constantly attacking you in a lot of different ways, and I think each week is a different challenge. You get a bye week, you watch film for a long, long time, and you're just amazed at how variant they can be, how they attack what they're giving you, and they're patient about what they do. So it'll be a big challenge. I think their defensive front seven is the core of their team. And I think it's really challenging, and obviously they put it on tape this year, so we got to answer that bell.
I asked you about the CIA?
CAI, yeah.
Okay, not
Championship Analytics Incorporated.
There you go.
Maybe.
It sounds like, is it Coach Kramer that's like more in charge of that?
Yeah, he's everyone has a book guy, right? So under Coach Kramer's deal, it should be book guy. But yeah, like I said, all situations and circumstances and how we use it.
So it seemed like relaying to you as the situations come up, like, hey, here's what we should do, or like how does that dynamic work?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's something that you study and you got to be completely aware of, and we spend a lot of time really going through that. So even at the end of the game, hey, here's defensive timeouts in the last 5 minutes. Here's how you kneel it, how you can delayed knee it, how you run the ball out. There's so many situations in football, and we talked about it before. We got to be bulletproof too. So we rep those things all the time, and we're constantly going through how we'd handle different situations in our mind.
Is a sore throat a sign of a good practice, week of practice?
Man, today was an aggressive practice. Today was exactly where we needed it. I think there was some emotions out there. We went a lot of good on good. We need to play with a competitive edge. There is no doubt about the way this team needs to play, especially coming off a bye week. The coaches really challenged our guys today. I thought they really responded to it, and you take a little break with the voice, sometimes it gets you.
How much are you and the rest of the guys, I don't know if it's a topic of discussion, but savoring the moment of, hey, playing at the Rose Bowl and the tradition that brings within this conference?
Yeah, we've talked about it, just enough to be aware of it. I think the guys, know the type of venue that it is, but more so what it represents after the season, right? This is a league game, a conference game at a home UCLA stadium. That's kind of how we look at it right now. But we do know the bigger picture and the history of how hard it is to get down there.
In today's social media age, is it harder for student athletes to deal with distractions? Because obviously your team has dealt with a lot of it, not just this year in general, but this week in particular with a lot of the stuff that's been going on.
Yeah, I tell them the same thing I do, turn off your notifications. Because whether they love you and they're heaping praise, I think that's really hard to handle and stay humble to all that. Or how fast everything can turn on you and then they're against you, I think that's hard to take mentally. So just turn it off, stay focused on what really drives performance and what really matters, and social media isn't one of them. I say, guys, that's someone else's highlight reel. They're not putting out there when they have a bad day, right? So take all that stuff with a grain of salt.
Where does that kind of for you to kind of be in tune with what they're going through on that level? Like, you're not really in their era. How do you kind of get on their level in terms of hey, this is what they're dealing with?
Well, I think you study it, you read about it, and then you try to have empathy towards their situation. Because I think social media is part of their society and culture, so it's part of who they are. You got to show them how a healthy balance of it is okay, right? Because that's what they need to do. But also when we lean too much, it's dangerous. One thing we did in fall camp, when we're reading the book Win in the Dark, it talked about screen time. Had them take out their phone, and you can see how much screen time you have in a day. Somebody had over 9 hours. 9 hours, right? So it's another awareness factor of, hey, how am I best using my time? Time is the most precious thing that we have, and we got to utilize it greatly. So that's all part of it, just making sure they're aware of the good and the bad of it all.
Who had the 9 hours?
I can't disclose that. It was very dangerous, yeah.
All right, that's about all I got.
Thank you, guys. Go Cougs.